Junior Springboks are set to arrive back in the country this morning following their success at the World Rugby Under-20 Championships. The Baby Boks defeated New Zealand in their final on Saturday to register their second Under-20 world title. And this follows the success of the class of 2012. Sports reporters Yolulwe, Qoshe and Vuyo Macoba are at the O.R International Airport awaiting the team's arrival. And to both of you, good morning. It's nice to be at the airport, but for entirely different reasons this morning, Vuyo. And it's also nice to be at the arrivals hall for another triumphant return of a South African international squad. Dial us into the mood there.
Good morning to you, Iman, and to the Newzroom Afrika viewers. As you rightly say, I think we were just speaking with my colleague Yolulwe, who I'm going to bring it now, that, at some point we need to just rent a flat close to the O.R Tambo International Airport, because weekly we are here at the same spot receiving another group of champions. I think that is also testament to the group of other teams or players that go overseas to represent the country. They understand what it means to represent Mzansi, and coming back to the country to a hero's welcome like what we are expecting today for the Junior Springboks, having succeeded, of course, in their turn in Italy at the Under-20 World Championships, marking them as another team, as we mentioned recently. I think a few weeks ago we're here for the Proteas. They just come back from the World Test Championships. Prior to that, the Under-20s in the football side, Amachita, had also triumphed in the African stage. And I think even just this weekend, we're possibly even going to be coming back, because Banyana is in the semi-finals of the WAFCON. You've got a young team that is in Nigeria now that was in the Junior Athletics Championships that did very, very well. They will be arriving in the country very soon, so we might as well take out our sleeping bags and just punch them down here, because at any time we're going to be back to you, Iman, and crossing again and presenting another group of champions. It's the Under-20s. They've done successfully in Italy in this world stage, having, of course, broken that third-year drought of the World Championship stage, or the South Africans junior side receiving that title. The last time it was that group that did it back in 2012. So another successful side in terms of a South African team, but another successful side in terms of a rugby side that is, of course, now when you look at the future, it's a feeder to the senior team that is also twice world champions, or recently twice world champions, have been led by a team in Siyakolisi. I've got my colleague Yolulwe Qoshe right now, who we've had the opportunities to sort of sink in terms of the mood, seeing some of the family members. Of course, the sponsors at large have also come through to come and receive the team. As I'm looking on the board as we speak, Turkish Airlines is about to land. We're expecting it at 10:23, TK042 as I'm looking up the board, estimated for 10:34. That's when the team is going to be arriving here at O.R Tambo. And of course, there is a press conference that is expected to happen. It's of course going to have SA Rugby side. Mark Alexander is going to be representing, and the coaching side of the Under-20 team in Kevin Foot, possibly the captain in Riley Norton, who led this team to that success in Italy, is going to have an opportunity to, of course, speak to South Africans who have come out here or are slowly coming out here at large to sort of welcome our heroes. Yolulwe, as I mentioned, we've had this opportunity. I think it's slowly sinking in for us what these youngsters have done. Take us back, of course, into how they played at the tournament, going through the group stages, reaching that semi-final, and finally triumphing over our rivals, New Zealand.
Yeah, I mean, Vuyo, it's an incredible feat for this team. I mean, you also understand that when they played at home in the Rugby Championship, which we hosted out in Gqeberha earlier in the year, it wasn't the best of results and best performances from them. They ended up only beating Argentina to finish third in the group for that particular tournament. But also when you look at those results in context, they were losing by very small margins, which means that they always had the ability. They always had a little bit more in their tank. And I think what happened when they went into the Rugby World Cup, the Junior Championships, they got a few other players back, 5 players. I look at 2 players in particular. There's Jaco Frobler, who came in. He comes in with the United Rugby Championship experience, playing for the Bulls under previously Jake White. So he knows how to play senior rugby and hard circumstances and conditions. Then you look at Yako Williams, a player that also featured for the Sharks in the United Rugby Championship, as well as the European competitions that they feature in. So having those two players join into that group lifted everybody else's spirits, lifted the level of that team. And then, of course, they went into the tournament itself. Early on, early marker, very, very decisive, 73 points over Australia, a team that they lost against in that same rugby championship. And then another huge score against Scotland, another 70 points, you know. So they came there intent on scoring big points, playing a running game of rugby. But also, they knew that they can also grind out games. We saw that when they beat England, again, there they scored 32 points, but they had to grind out in that particular game because England came out the blocks firing. England looked very confident. A lot of people were starting to worry now. Are they going to slip back into the type of form that we saw them playing in Gqeberha, where they can't go on to win games? But something changed with that mentality. They had a few X-factor players that started to join up as a team, and they're able to grind out victories as a team. And that's been the type of grind that they've been exhibiting. Also the final against New Zealand, where they didn't have it all their own way. But what was important there, Vuyo, is their ability to grind out points and be able to win match moments instead of prioritizing winning the whole match all in one. So I think that's where the success of this team really came from. And also credit to the coach, Kevin Foot, for coming into a team last season that finished 7th in the World Cup. They came in, they beat the defending champions in England, and then also went on to advance and beat old foes, New Zealand, and becoming champions for sure.
I think that is another key, as you mentioned. You've got a coach in Kevin Foot who comes in last year. He comes in as a rescuer to the team. Team finishes 7th last year. They need somebody who can come into the stage this season and also give them that lift up. He comes in, not much experience in the team, but of course he comes in, gets the opportunity, plays with the guys in the in the Rugby Championship. The team doesn't do well, as you mentioned, Australia, New Zealand, but then they come back into this one. Stand out for him to come in with that little experience, but getting the edge to sort of lift them up to this championship.
Yeah, I mean, again, credit to a coach like Kevin Foot. The under-20 national team job was a hot job because of the performances in 2024. So when he came in, a lot of eyebrows were raised because, like you said, not an extensive CV that he had. He had previously coached at UCT in the Varsity Cup level, had a long stint away in Australia. His last stint was an interim one at Melbourne Rebels, a team that is now defunct. They became bankrupt and they last played in 2024. So he came back into the South African structures. He had a vision. They sold the vision to him, SA Rugby as well. And for him, I think it was just a matter of coming in, seeing what type of individuals that he has, and trying to blend them in as a team. Because there are some names and there are some individuals that have immense potential. The likes of Batho Hlekane, you've mentioned Riley Norton as well. Well, I must also speak about Riley Norton, you know, a player that could have chosen cricket. You know, last year he was playing for the Under-19 Cricket World Cup. He took that team to the semi-finals and then decided to put the ball down, put the bat down. He decided to put on the shoulder pads, scrum cap, come into the rugby fold, and now he has led a team to the Under-20 World Championships. But again, credit to Kevin Foot and his coaching staff, the physios, because the team looked very, very fit out there in Italy. Very, very hot conditions. We also must mention a couple of cooling breaks. So the conditioning was important, that aspect, how they train day to day, and also the short turnaround from game to game. So overall, coaching staff win this, but of course, being the head coach, Kevin Foot should be able to take the plaudits as he is ahead of everybody there.
Yolulwe, still a lot to talk about, of course, as we still have this day and still expecting the champions to come in at any time now through those doors. But you mentioned Kevin Foot as a coach, you mentioned Riley Norton as a captain, and they'll be walking in here at any time, Iman, coming into this Heroes Welcome with that trophy as the new champions of 2025. It's back to you in studio.
And they couldn't have asked for a better welcoming committee than you, Vuyo and Yolulwe.